Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do some things with the Turabian. First, we're going to make sure that we format the page. So let's go up to page layout, margins, make sure they're normal, which is 1 inch all the way around, which is fine. Okay, then we're going to go to insert, page numbers. We're going to make them at the bottom of the page. And we'll go with in the center, which is plain number 2. Okay, so now you'll see this is highlighted at the bottom of the page. What we want to do is put our cursor somewhere in the middle of the page and double click, and then that goes away. The page number is still down there. It's just lighter. Okay, for the spacing, we're still on home. We want to go with double spacing, which is what we got. Okay, and we're left justified. And then we want to make sure we're at Times Roman number 12. And now we've got the thing formatted basically for what we want to do with Turabian. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this. I just wanted to show you that stuff. Close that. Don't want to save that. Now this is the page that I've already done the report on. Your margins are up and around, up at the top and on the sides and the bottom. So what I did was we went in and wrote this right below the top margin. But on this spacing, we only want this as 1. So we had the whole page spaced at 2. So when I typed this in, we typed it as 1, and then right justified it also. You can see the right justified marker. Then you skip 2 spaces, do the title in bold, and then you go ahead and everything else is double spaced for the rest of the document, except for the footnotes are single spaced also. You can see that down at the bottom. The footnotes are single spaced. They're indented 1/2 inch, just like every paragraph. So when you do a new paragraph, you got to hit the tab button on your keyboard to tab over the 1/2 inch spacing. Okay, so I'm going to go through and show you how to do citations also. Now remember, there's 2 good documents to use. One is this document that I gave you before, and I'll send it to you again. It's called the Turabian 8th edition formatting checklist. And you'll notice that it's got page numbers next to different things about the body, the font size, citation footnotes, bibliography, and all that stuff. So you can check the page numbers. It's got a lot of good notes on it, but those page numbers are for this Turabian book that I got you, the 8th edition of the Turabian, the 8th edition, the manual writer so you can refer to those pages. And then also there's that one website page, Turabian 8th edition, and this is really great. I'll give you the link for this. You already have it, but you're always doing stuff. There's 2 different styles. This is the notes bibliography style. Remember that. The others is I forget what it's called, but it doesn't really matter. Oh, the author date style. You want the notes and bibliography style, not that author date style. So it shows you how to do, for instance, a book. The top part with one author, top part always shows you how to cite. In this case, the first time you cite something, you cite the entire thing. The second time, you only have to use the last name and the name of the book. And remember, look, the name of the book is in italics when you're citing. And so just it shows you how you have to do this exact same format with the brackets in this case, the page numbers. When you cite, there's more commas. When you do the bibliography, this is footnotes. The first part is footnotes. You can see 1 and 2 mean, you can tell they're footnotes. And this is the second time using the same book, this footnote right here. And then this is how you do the bibliography. Bibliography, you do last name first, then first name with a period. In citing, you do first name, then last name with a comma. There's commas when you cite footnotes. There's more periods when you do bibliographies. But go through this whole thing. It shows you with 2 or more authors. Like your book has 4 authors. So for 4 or more authors, like your book, you put et al. With a period and a comma when you cite. And then the second time, you just put the last name, et al. And so if you just go through this, and this is how you actually You have to put every name in when you do the bibliography. Remember, this is citing, this is bibliography. It shows you how to do all different types of things. Chapters of book, books published electronically, journal articles, article and online, magazine articles, newspaper articles, like this one's a newspaper article. Notice how the newspaper article you got to put when it was accessed and the URL when you do the citing. And you also do that when you do the bibliography. So this page is really great. If you follow these with the commas and the periods and the brackets, page numbers, the way, if you do it in these exact same format for whatever you're citing or putting in the bibliography, you'll be golden. This is what I use. This is a great tool to use. This gives you a little bit more information as far as font sizes and spacing. And remember, these refer back to page numbers in the book, so you can always go back to the book to look at that. Okay? So, notice how here, this is our first cite. And when you cite in Turabian, you want a ½ inch space here. You want Arabic numbers here. Regular numbers, Arabic numbers. And, but I'll show you how to cite towards the back, towards a lower one, so it's a little bit easier. Notice how I've got an indent in all the paragraphs. And there's an indent when you cite. And so let's go down and do another cite. We'll do this one right here. Okay, I've already got this cited, but let me take this off. So all you do, if you want to get rid of it, is just backspace. And notice how the 7 has gone from here also. So now you want to cite this. So if you go back up and go to References, click on References, click on Insert a Footnote. Remember, the difference between a footnote, footnotes appear at the bottom of a page where they're footnoted. Endnotes are at the end of the paper, right before the bibliography. And typically in Turabian, you're going to do footnotes so that you can see the stuff right away, what you're citing. So anyway, our cursor's up here. We hit Insert Footnote. See how a 7 has appeared here. Now, this isn't the format that you need, but that gets it. So the 7's up here, and the 7's down here. Now, what you want to do is you want to go and highlight that number 7. Click on Home, and see this x squared is probably, if it's superscripted like this, that means this x squared is highlighted. You want to click that to get rid of the superscript. Now, if you look down here, this has to be a superscript, but down here it's normal sized. You want to put a dot on the side of it. Hit your arrow keys back a couple. Now go ahead and hit your tab key on your keyboard. Boom, it pushes it over there. And now in this case, it's the same type of citing, it's just a different page. So I'm going to copy this. Down to here, but one thing you got to make sure when you copy, see how this is italicized and this isn't. For some reason it does not italicize when you copy. So you got to make sure to highlight that and italicize it. And now whatever the page number was, I think it was page 189. I'm just going to back up and make sure I got the right page number in there, because copying this page number doesn't necessarily represent that. Now you've got this thing cited. Okay. Now another thing to pay attention to is the first time you cite something, you have to cite it in its entirety. And remember, go by either that website, the Turabian website, is the easiest way to do it to make sure you're citing right. This happens to be a newspaper article. Notice that in this, the name of the article is in quotation marks, and then the magazine, or the newspaper is italicized. There's commas, dates, and when you accessed it, and the URL. That's all on that formatting page. But I only use this once for this article. So that one stays the same, but if I were to use that again, all I would use was his last name and then the newspaper name italicized and then the page number. And that shows up, if you look on the citing on that Turabian website, when you've cited something for the second time. It shows it first time and it shows citing number 1 and citing number 2. Citing number 2 is always when you're citing the same source. You don't have to put all this information again. And I'll show you an example of that. Okay, here's your Rickless book. Okay, so the first time I cited it was for the number 2. So it's MC Rickless. When you're citing, remember you put first name, last name. And this, you happen to have 4 other authors, so then you put et al, ET, then AL period, and then a comma. Okay, then you italicize the name of the book, and then you put where it was published, which is in England. This is in England, and then the publisher's name. You put that in brackets, then you put the comma, page number, period. And again, this is in that on that website, so you can just take a look at that. Now, I cite from the same book, the next one, every time after that, all I have to do is put Rickless, the last name, comma, et al, because there's more than, I put et al for all of them. I just didn't put the last name. Most times you only have to put the last name. I'll check that if it needs et al, but it doesn't hurt to have et al. Comma, then you put the name of the book italicized, comma, the page number you're citing from, and then period. Okay, then let's look at that Turabian website again real quick and see how they did cite that. Okay, so that was from a book. We'll go back up here, book. Yeah, see? Okay, here, this is a book with 1 author. Shows you how to cite it first and second time. With 2 authors, first and second time. And of course, down below here is for the bibliography. Then for 4 or more authors, and see, cite it the first time, you put it et al, and then last name et al for future ones like I did. So if you go through this thing, this gives you the way to cite that stuff perfectly. Okay, so we pull this back up. Whoops, that's the other thing I'm working on. And then for every future cite after that, we put them this way, the same way, with the page numbers. Okay? And then at the end, you have the bibliography. Now the bibliography is a little bit different. Do you see how these are indented when you're citing? It's indented 1/2 inch, then the number, and then the cite. Bibliography, it's called a hanging indent. You go last name and then first name, where in the when you cite, it's first name, last name, and then period, where you're using commas up in the citing, and it's a little bit different format. This is for the newspaper article. This is using more periods when you're putting in a bibliography versus commas. And I think there were brackets around some of this stuff. There were brackets around this in the citing, so it's a little bit different. But if you just look at that Turabian page and could, look at what you're doing, whether you're citing a book or a magazine article or a book with 4 or more authors or whatever, this will show you exactly how to do it. That shows you exactly how to do it. And you just follow that format. And remember, when I did these, just real quick, that's not how I wanted to do that. I wanted to see if I can't do that. The way you do this hanging, when this thing comes out, let me see if I can do it down here. Okay. When you want to do a hanging indent, you put your cursor down here, and then, excuse me, you put your cursor, I don't know why it's not doing it. You could always just tab over if you want to do it that way. But the way to do it, the way to really do it, is have this hanging indent here and that there, and usually that's by, you pull both of them. It's not doing it right now. Yeah, I can't do it. You can always tab over the bottom part, but notice how this part's all in. But the way to do it is with these 2 cursors up here, where this one stays like this and that one's like that. And then that's how these are right here. See how this is up top is that way and this is that way. But anyway, that's how to do this stuff. So I just wanted to make sure you understood how to do this. That's a little, just to make sure you understand, how this thing was put together. All right, that's it.